Would you care to know that seemingly small actions can have a lasting effect on someone's mental health? Today, we'll uncover the surprising ways that we may unintentionally cause trauma and how to change that. You're already tuned in, so stick with me. This may change someone's life.
Heaven knows just what you need. Let all good things rain out on every planet sea. So lay a transformation, that's me.
Wouldn't you like to know if you had unintentionally caused someone to experience unnecessary trauma in their life? Whether you mean to or not, others can be affected by the way you show up to relationships and public interactions. I'm Soleil Rain, a personal lifestyle consultant, writer, and motivational speaker. Let's have this discussion on the causes of trauma and how we can be effective in paying attention to when we are bringing trauma to someone else's life, intentionally or unintentionally. Psychological, emotional, and physical are forms of trauma that we all can be susceptible to at any given point in our lives, as early as in childhood, teenage years, being out in public at any given age, in work environments, in social environments, and even religious settings. We can cause trauma to someone unsuspectingly and not even know it. Because a lot of times people will not say that you're traumatizing me. So, how do you even know the effects of what you're saying and what you're doing and how you're showing up? The key to not causing trauma is to care, to listen, to pay attention to people's body language, to the words that are being said, as well as the words that are not being said in your personal interactions. Sometimes things happen in a public setting, and people may not want to react or say things to show that they're affected by something. They just swallow it down, smile, and keep going. Don't be fooled by a smile because there's so much underneath that tip of the iceberg. Bullying, neglect, abuse, or other harmful interpersonal means of engaging are ways that we can cause trauma. Sometimes people think that, oh, if I bully them, they're going to understand who's boss. They're going to understand that I mean business and I can't be messed with. We already know that hurt people hurt people. So just because you don't want to be traumatized or you've experienced trauma, there's no excuse to purposely cause trauma to someone else just to show that you're not going to be traumatized by them, or you're not going to be bullied by them or bossed around by them. Be compassionate. Find ways to understand that the cycle does not need to be perpetuated. We do not need to continue cycles of abuse and trauma causing just because we've been a victim of it or we've been subject to it. And, oh, I had to get over it myself. I had to grow up. I had to get healed and go and talk to a therapist. So they're going to have to do the same thing. No, that's not the way to think when it comes to people, because some people can hold in pain to a certain point until they decide to take their lives, until they decide to take someone else's life. And life is too precious to be squandered and tossed about in this way. We must learn to build unity, communities, and foster togetherness in a compassionate manner. This is why I'm here. There's so many people out there who are causing trauma to others, not even knowing it, dumping their trash out on the sidewalk, dumping their trash out on other people's emotions. And sometimes it can be very simple that you may not know what others have experienced. There may be a trigger that you're just simply walking around with some dice in your hand, making a noise, not knowing that is disturbing someone. And it's there that someone's hearing their father coming into the room to abuse them, or a caregiver setting them up to let them know that, oh, we're alone now. It could be something so serious that watch people's faces. If you show up to a space and you're doing something, you're clicking your teeth or you're doing whatever, humming, look at the faces on the people around you. If you see that someone's uncomfortable, stop whatever you're doing immediately. Stop whatever you're doing immediately and show compassion. Yes, you may have different methods of calming yourself when you're feeling a certain way, but sometimes just simply putting someone else's emotions, putting someone else's comfort ahead of yours actually can calm you because you care enough to care about them. And in some cases, others will care enough to care about you, to help you find that time of comfort, that space of comfort. So what goes around certainly does come back around. Know that your turn to be cared for and to be put first will eventually come as you show that you care for others and that you may not need a word of someone saying, oh, please stop that. That's so annoying. It reminds me of this situation I've been through. You may not need an explanation, but at least you feel something that tells you, okay, this person is uncomfortable. I'm going to stop. I'm going to calm myself. And maybe that will help them. Tranquila, tranquila, cálmense. It will help them calm down as well. Sometimes we just have to check our priorities. When we prioritize someone else's emotions and someone else's comfort, that actually makes me feel good to know that I've prioritized someone else, because it makes me feel like I'm a good person. It makes me feel that I'm evolving. I'm expanding my view of life and I'm not so self-centered. I'm not so focused on my own emotions and I'm not so in my own world, living from inside myself and not caring what happens to other people. That makes me feel good that I'm fostering connections, unification, understanding, openness. And hopefully someone will choose to be that way with me. And life goes on and the world keeps turning, right? A lot of times we move a little too fast in our interactions. Let's say someone accidentally bumped into you or accidentally stepped on your shoe that you just bought, you're wearing them for the first time today, but maybe that person has a good excuse. But instead, we jump and respond. We jump and react and we lash out with obscenities, curse words at people. We're yelling, we're flinging our arms and ready to hit someone. Let's attempt to stop reacting so fast and to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. Find out, was that intentional? Did you mean to step on my foot? Do you know that you just stepped on my foot? Do you know that you just shoved me into this other person and you created a domino effect? Now everybody down the line is getting shoved. Can you be more careful? Sometimes just simply saying things without, if you know that you're a hitter, an aggressive person who wants to punch someone, at least try to use your words. Ask a question. Find out their level of awareness. Sometimes people may be focused on their inner world, just like you may have that moment sometimes. Ask them, did you know you just stepped on my foot? Okay, let's try to not do that again. I'd appreciate it. You know, did you know you just shoved into me? You pushed me? Let's try not to do that again, please. I can't take it anymore. I won't be able to take it a second time. And allow them the space to apologize or to distance themselves so they don't get knocked out by you. At least let's take baby steps. I know understanding this concept may take time, it may take attention, and sometimes you may not have that. It takes a little bit more energy initially to shift and change from what we're used to doing and how we're used to showing up. But eventually it will become a second nature because when you're around other people, you'll begin to notice, oh, something's going on with them. So I'm going to make sure I keep it quiet. I'm not going to be shaking my dice. I'm not going to be making any noise with little crystals and things like that. And sometimes it's good to have a totem. It's good to have that little thing that keeps you calm and makes you aware of your surroundings. I have a good example of how people can cause trauma without even recognizing it. My son just started at a new school. And the second day that he went to school, he came back on the school bus, and two of the children on the bus began to have an altercation. They started calling each other names. Initially, it was a verbal thing, and then they started hitting each other. And one of the students climbed over the seats and so forth. And my son thought that he was going to get kicked in the head. So he put his backpack up and he said he got tapped somehow on the shoulder and he felt all sorts of negative energy coming from this child that was in rage. And the school bus had to be pulled over. And there was a police officer who ended up calling me to come to the actual location where the bus was pulled over at to come and pick up my son and bring him home. When I spoke to my son about the situation, he said that he felt like he was going to have a seizure. He thought he was going to go into a convulsion because he was just that nervous. He was just that revved up and afraid and traumatized because these other students were so close to him in proximity and he felt the anger, he felt the energy. But I was able to calm him down as the mother that I am. I was able to get him into a place of peace and understand how he felt and to get him out of that mindset. So sometimes we may not intentionally affect someone outright. We know that we're going to leave this one person alone. We're not going to say anything to them. It could have been that that student who got into a fight with another student may have been taken up for a student they thought was a weaker student and didn't want to take up for themselves. Sometimes, even if you think that you're doing a good thing by being a hero and picking on someone who's picking on someone, and that little domino effect of, oh, you want to pick on them? So I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to abuse you. I'm going to do this to you. It can cause trauma to others in the vicinity and you not know what has happened. It could be a lot more damage that takes place when you think that you're going to take up for someone else and be the hero. Sometimes it's not the time. If you can get someone pulled over to the side out of the view of everyone else, say some choice words to get them in line if you think that they are a real bully and you know you need to put them in check. Sometimes doing it in private is better to say what you have to say. Make sure they understand. Make sure that they know that you aren't trying to take their place as a bully, but you want them to be reminded of their actions, their words, how they're showing up. Hey, man, you might not want to treat her like that. Something simple. But if you go into the realm of bullying and being angry and hurting someone, for whatever reason, you may feel justified. You can still cause others around that space to be traumatized. And it's not always a good feeling when you don't know when you're next to get hit. You don't know when you're next to get kicked in the head or when you're next to get punched and pushed on the ground. It's not a good feeling. Even if you feel that you've protected yourself or you've hidden in a corner, you still want to feel safe internally, emotionally, mentally. So let's watch how we show up in our environments. Every community that you find yourself in, you're part of it and it is a part of you. So show up as your highest self. Show up in the best way that you possibly can. Have compassion, have a smile on your face. Get an attitude of gratitude. Give thanks for the smallest things. Find things to give thanks for. Find things to smile about and be happy about, and let that energy spread like wildfire, knowing that you can affect someone today in a positive way. These are ways that you can actually stop causing trauma to other people. Okay. I just want to say, if you know that you've seen how people cause trauma, or you felt that you've done it yourself, put it in the comments. Let's have a discussion about it in the community. Let's bring awareness to the causes of trauma so that those who may not be so open to view, listen, look, they can be made aware of it as well. Put it in the comments, share this video, like, and subscribe for our further content that's coming. Subscribe so that you'll hear and know when more videos like this are coming. Thank you to the community. Thank you to my transformers. You are my transformers out there, transforming your life and others' lives with every level of improvement that you can muster up. I am Soleil Rain. Wholeness to you, peace and love. Much gratitude. Thank you. Until next time.